Isis Audiobooks presents an unabridged recording of The Captain's Table, written by Brian Thompson, read by Claire Willey. The moral right of the author has been asserted. This performance is owned by Isis Publishing Limited. Chapter 1. London, one late August afternoon in 1876. Hyde Park is busy with people. The better sort strolling on the dusty paths, herding their children gently in front of them. From time to time these family groups are overtaken by men in frock coats, who have given up their carriages and are taking the air at a brisk pace. In this way one might encounter someone like Lord Hartington of the War Office, moving at a suitably military clip and trailing 2 or 3 secretaries behind him. At the sound of the great man's approach, and Hartington does not stint, but comes on like a cheery yet urgent tornado, gentlemen raise their hats, the parasols part, and boys in sailor suits stand to attention. The better sort, or maybe only the more impudent, salute. So it is also along the sanded carriage drive that runs around the edge of the park. On a mild and windless day such as this is, men of affairs, peers of the realm, half-pay admirals, dowager duchesses, and distinguished foreigners roll gently past under the trees. The public likes to congregate in knots to watch them. There is a sudden flurry of hat-raising. The Queen's youngest son, Prince Leopold, is seen to be taking the air, looking well, according to some bystanders, looking drawn and hunted to others. The ladies with him in the royal landau are identified as Lady Breadalbane and Sir Henry Ponsonby's good-natured wife Mary. Prince Leopold's mamma, if she ever got wind of such innocent pleasures, would at once put a stop to them. She has it in her head that her boy is an incurable invalid, quite as likely to fall out of his carriage as to enjoy its easy motion. As everyone knows, there is something wrong with his blood, and even the slightest accident with scissors might threaten his life. He has the anguished sympathy of those who watch. There is a scattering of applause, and 1 or 2 muted huzzas. A recent story tells how, when in Oxford for the funeral of Dean Liddell's dearest daughter, Leopold took a white rose from his buttonhole and laid it on the coffin. There was gallantry in this gesture, but also some real emotion. None of Victoria's other sons could have done such a thing, or not with such unassuming grace. The prince, who has impeccable manners, raises his hat a little, just a very little, at the warm reception given to his carriage. His smile is soft and diffident. Lady Ponsonby, who sees everything and knows everyone, dips her head in grateful acknowledgement of the crowd's kindness. Tonight, 100 or so gentle souls will speak about their encounter with Prince Leopold as though he had stepped from the carriage and shaken each of them by the hand. This pale haemophiliac, with a student's beard and uncertain blue eyes, is somehow their connection to what makes England great. But by far the larger number in the park today are men and women from another world altogether. They sprawl, they drink, they fornicate. Hundreds of empty bottles reflect the sun, and the dusty grass is stiff with broken glass. From time to time the police sprint after thieves, or form in knots to prevent a breach of public order, as, for example, when a ragged file of former soldiers pass, playing battered instruments. They are almost too drunk to stand, these men, and their behaviour insults the few scraps of uniform they wear. Their intention is to reach the mammas and their children, the better to wring their hearts. The police have drawn truncheons to prevent them. There are people here who have been turned off from distant factories, agricultural labourers who have not seen work for months, dismissed servants, French and German exiles, beggars, whores and bully boys. The hubbub that is carried on the sultry breeze comes in part from hundreds of them bathing in the Serpentine, as near naked as makes no difference,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?